My name is George Gachara, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm Wakiuru Njuguna, also really happy to be here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
The lights. I feel like I'm on stage. It's beautiful to see you. It's beautiful to have this day and to have this conversation.
Yeah.
It's been long coming.
I know, we've been planning for it for months.
and I guess what's important is I'm sitting here today thinking that a decade ago, when we were writing on that white notice board next to your red chair upstairs, HEVA, we couldn't see today. We couldn't see what we would become. I know I have makeup, but I've developed crowfeet.
I remember when we wrote HEVA, and then we decided this is what we were gonna do.
Yes.
Went out into the world and said, this is what we are doing.
And it exists.
And it exists, exactly. And then there was so many people asking us questions and doubting why we would ever think about, doing this. But we were very consistent in the way in which we decided to pursue what we knew was true.
I want to start with what was hopeful. So we're existing in a society that's urbanizing, that young people are creating all manner of cool stuff. We're starting to enjoy digital media, we're starting to enjoy social media. Everyone is having a small cottage industry. And then this crazy band of people decide we're going to finance.
Yeah.
We're going to finance that.
Yeah.
And I remember our very early conversations were not sophisticated. We were like, how do we move? Was it 1 million shillings that we had saved?
We started, it was 1 million bob.
Yes.
And so we tested trying to give the money to different artists just to see like the kind of impact that would have on them.
And this is truly thanks to you. I remember dreaming about the bigger thing, and you were the one who was able to say, okay, so there's a thing called a loan. There's a thing called a revenue share. There's a thing called, and can we give that to the artist? And some artists would be like, we've never had a thing like that.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever thought that we deserve to be supported for the strength of our ideas.
But also, I feel like it's also thanks to you guys, because when I came in, you had all the experience in the sector, so you knew exactly what was going on. You knew the struggles, accessing finance, all that stuff. And then I came with, we can try this, so kind of like bringing those two worlds together. I think it worked perfectly because we both had different backgrounds. So the team that was there was very artistic. You had, years of experience producing films and directing them, fashion, exactly. And so you knew exactly where the struggle was. And also you had an idea of how to frame it in the form of finance.
Well, the beauty of that, and maybe just to jump in, the thing that defines the DNA of this thing that has become HEVA Fund is that at the very onset, we were very clear that the person we chose to love is the artist, the creator, the thinker, the one who makes new stuff. And that had never been seen before, not heard before. And just like you'd have said, a lot of people were like, is this ever going to work?
How far we've come along and what we've been able to achieve, for the fund and even for the sector. I would say, we did dare to dream, and, we are here now.
We trusted the artist before anyone in this sector and in this economy could trust them with private money.
Yeah.
We trusted young women with money, and we said your ideas matter.
Yeah.
The work we've done together is phenomenal. We've trained over 8,000 practitioners. We've raised and committed more than 1 billion shillings. Who would have imagined?
Yeah. So changing the rules about, how do you evaluate a business.
A business.
You know, how do you decide?
And who looks at it first?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, who looks at it first?
Yeah.
Because, you know, the usual way is a finance person or an accountant or a credit person. What are they called?
Yes.
They come look at the loan book, they look at the financial statements, and then they decide whether the business is able to receive certain, you know, credit. But then for us, we said, can we first see if this product that the person is making is aesthetically, I guess, acceptable? Does the market want it? And so there's, you know, the creative aspect, which we have carried through all the way to our commercial facilities, to our loan facilities, which is really cool. Like, how many times do you have to sit with, you know, discussing the product and the, you know, the innovation around it, and trying to determine whether this is a business you should give credit or a facility.
Our business was business of money. It was a business of money, and money has never been trusted to artists and creators and young people. And at the beginning, there was skepticism. Great skepticism. I remember us going to Netherlands only to be told it will never work. But it did. It did. And what is more interesting is that it worked in many different ways. It worked in loans. It worked in grants. It worked in scholarships. It worked in stipends. It worked in hybrid. It worked in equity. And so 10 years later, I am confident that culture and creative industries are investable.
And on the wall, we had this writing, and it was, "The future is creative." So I feel like we're living in that future. So we are, obviously 10 years from now, we are in this space where we are seeing a lot of cultural production. We're seeing a lot of like new young people, you know, trying all kinds of things. And now you're able to see a fashion business, you know, doing exports and needing trade financing of, you know, millions of shillings. And they are able to employ like a bunch of people at the same time.
I'm celebrating a consolidation, that it was once a dream, that then it had the first group of people who believed in it. And they put their life and their competence and their energies to taking the biggest risks. I remember in 2018, we signed a big loan, the biggest loan I've ever signed in my life. I don't think anyone in my clan or even my forefathers had the chance of signing a French loan on behalf of a sector that used to be neglected. I'm so proud to be at the forefront on behalf of our board and our team to communicate to the world that indeed that the future is great, the future has great hands, that indeed our partners, our supporters, our clients, our previous clients, those that actually think that HEVA is a resource for them today and in the future, to know that we're at a good place, and this good place and this future that we are looking at is also in good hands. That it is also my joy to hand over this thing, this custodianship of this dream to a person I trust, to a person I've worked with for many, many years, to a person who I've become family with, to lead me and to lead us into this future. And that's Wakiuru.
Thank you. For me, I'm extremely honored because I know how much, you know, HEVA means to you, what this process has been like for you. It's been your whole life. So I'm extremely honored to just be able to take over from you. Having worked with you for the last 9 years and seeing how you work, you've been such an amazing boss. Every time I tell someone you're my boss, they're like, what? There's no way. But yeah, like, you know, just being able to carry on that kind of culture that you have been able to embed into the fund, into the organization, is like one of my biggest...
I'm so emotional. I don't know how to do this.
It's one of, you know, it's such a wonderful energy that you bring and that you've brought to us. and to everyone who's interacted with HEVA. So I'm really excited to just be able to, you know, take over and build from what you've left, which is quite huge already. But I'm very excited about the potential of, you know, seeing us going to the rest of the region, because now we're in Eastern Africa actually. So away from those 14 countries that we are currently in, being able to build HEVA that is able to serve creative businesses across the region. So, you know, South Africa, wherever. Because I know it's a thing that, you know, a lot of people come and ask us, so if I want funding,
Yes.
you know, and I'm in South Africa, how can I access, or how can I access services that HEVA is able to offer? And we always have like coming soon. We are working on it. But that's essentially like one of the things that I feel will be one of my greatest, I guess, endeavor, is to be able to see HEVA across the region.
Yes. And the continent.
And the continent.
Yes.
I've always been like very interested about this exploration around, you know, blockchain and NFTs, and how all this new technology is interacting with the creative industries.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what this space holds. This kind of like createch space that we are in, but still, you know, there aren't so many investments going into it. So I feel like it's a natural step for HEVA, especially because we are seeing createch being able to either refine the way creatives create, or even how they earn from their art. So yeah, so that's something that I feel like, you know, in the next couple of years, we're going to go into. Looking forward to us making bigger moves, writing bigger checks,
Yes.
for women, for young people, just for, you know, creative entrepreneurs all together. But then also being able to raise $100 million.
Yes, this is
Which
the
is
big ticket.
the big dream.
I remember a few years back, $1 million was the target.
It seemed huge.
It seemed
Yeah.
huge, and then it moved to...
I remember George saying in meetings, so we hadn't consulted, and then George was just saying, you know, we are looking to raise $1 million, and I was like, George, how are we going to raise $1 million? But yeah.
And then it was 10 million, and then it was 20 million.
So now it's 100.
And I trust that you will be able, with your team and the support from the board,
Yeah.
to be able to achieve those big dreams. And once you achieve them, you're achieving them for the sector.
Yeah. So I'm very confident that, you know, the team and even just like the organization, the board that we have on board, is one that's able to lead us into that new future that we are thinking about. So thank you.
On behalf of the board and on behalf of the team and on behalf of our community, I'm very, very honored and privileged to congratulate you as our new managing partner.
Thank you.
Thank you.